Hello fellow JRulers, this video is brought to you by FOWHub.com, your source for news, videos, deck lists for casual and competitive players both new and old alike. Also brought to you by Top Deck Keep, my local game store, where you can get sealed and singles of Magic and Force of Will products. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the top 5 things that the company needs to do to help the game. I already talked to you about things that players can do to help the Force of Will community and make the game last. Now we're going to talk about what the Force of Will company needs to do. So the first thing I want to talk about is support an eternal format. Okay, so this was recently already announced that they will have an officially supported eternal format. It's going to be basically like Grim Plus, so everything after Valhalla. There is a Valhalla format, but it's unlikely that we're going to see a lot of support for that. Eventually we might, however it'll probably be further down the road, and maybe they'll do like a re-release at some point in the US of Valhalla products. There might be some kind of something similar to Vintage like there is in Magic. But for now, that's just not really a thing. But they are going to support things in the Grim cluster, Alice cluster, and the future Lapis cluster, and so on. At the moment, it's probably not a big deal. People have been kind of clamoring for it. They've been talking about really wanting an eternal format, but honestly, with the amount of cards that are out in Force of Will right now, I don't see it as a big deal. However, in the future, this will definitely become a big deal and can really add to the longevity of the game. What I hope to see from them is really consistent tournament support for it and recognition that there is this eternal format. This is kind of similar to Wizard of the Coast and what they have done with the modern format for Magic. They've done a really excellent job of supporting that format and promoting it. So we need to see that same type of support for an eternal format in Force of Will. I hope that, given that they have announced it, they have said, we do have a good sign, that they have said they're even going to release special promos for it. So with any luck, we will see some good AGPs and that type of thing for an eternal format, and that's going to become more and more important as the game moves on and gets older and older. And eventually, maybe we'll even get to see something with the Valhalla cluster, and I do hope that they do that at some time in the future. So, number 2. They need to learn from the mistakes of other games, okay? So this includes Magic the Gathering, this includes Pokemon, this includes Yu-Gi-Oh! And any other trading card games or collectible card games out there. Magic, of course, is the oldest and most successful, so we can really look to them for a lot of lessons. And the big thing is balancing free effects, okay? Magic has tried this in a variety of ways to reduce cost of cards, okay? So they had things like Phyrexian mana, they have things like Delve. Further ago in the past, they had Affinity, and just really fast mana, like the Moxes and that type of thing. And every time Magic has tried to do this, it kind of completely rocks the format. I shouldn't say kind of. It always makes huge waves in the game. And that's because the thing about these games is that they're based on a resource system. Okay, so this is the same for Force of Will. You have your magic stones, and they make will. And in order to do things, you need to spend will to do them, and you have a finite amount of this will every turn. Okay, and I kind of touched on this on my video when I talked about why R&R is so good, and he's kind of the big offender. Well, this side is she actually. She and he just has an insane amount of abilities that you can activate without using will. Same thing for Regalia, okay? Not only are their effects free, and honestly, if their effects were free, that might be okay, because they have limited use. You know, you have to tap them, or you have to sacrifice something to be able to activate them. But their initial cost is free, okay? So you can just dump as many Regalia out there as you want in one turn without having to pay anything, okay? And this allows decks to be extremely explosive, because if I have a hand that I can just like immediately play 3+ cards or more in the first turn, it's just a massive, it just speeds up the game incredibly. And it just allows you to do too many things at once. Okay, now personally, I have a lot of fun with that. I like Regalia. I like doing kind of things that people would call broken. It's that kind of thing is fun for me. It allows for a lot of interesting combos and the like. But really, it's not healthy for the game. And so they need to learn to balance these free effects and learn their lessons from not only other past games, but from themselves as well. And there are signs that they are doing that, and we just need to hope that they really do continue to do that. So, number 3, restrict the rare supply. Okay, now this might sound kind of odd, all right? One of the strong points of the Force of Will game is actually its low barrier to entry, okay? Right now, a lot of cards aren't super expensive. There are some that are pricey, but generally, unless you want to make everything full art, Force of Will cards are very affordable, especially compared to a game like Magic the Gathering. And that does help to get new players into the game easily. However, that in the long run can be a bit of a problem. Okay, it's very easy to get rares right now. Okay, so if you buy a couple boxes, say 2, for sure 3, you can literally get every single card in the set and multiple copies. Okay, if you buy 3 boxes, you may never have to buy another card from that set. Now, that might sound great, however, the game is based on sales, okay, just like anything else. If they're not selling products, then the company is not going to be making money. Okay, so if it's really easy for everyone to get all these and they're not incentivized to keep buying more, that will be a problem. Okay, so this might sound a little counterintuitive, but I just feel that they should somewhat limit the accessibility of rares. Okay, right now you can get like 3 rares in a pack, because you can get a foil, you can get your normal rare, you can get a super rare, and it just becomes very easy to get their packs. I'm not suggesting that they just drastically cut the amount of rares and things become extremely expensive. That would be frustrating, but in the long run, I believe they do need to restrict the rare supply, and that will drive the secondary market up a little bit, and it will kind of make people buy more products. Again, some people might not be happy about that, but in the long run, that will help the game in its sustainability. So, number 4, they need to have an accessible judge program. Okay, this is a big issue. Well, I actually meant to show you these cards when I was talking about the Eternal format. My bad. by the way, Cheshire Cat is one of the examples of one of the kind of pricier cards, but those are very few and far between. They're all pretty much affordable. Anyway, so number 4 is an accessible judge program. Okay, there are, for a long time, there was literally one official judge in the United States. Okay, which is crazy to think that there was one person alone that was sanctioned to actually judge. Now, they did have people judging in AGPs, but technically they didn't actually have a right to, which is kind of ridiculous. Then it did increase. I know at the most recent AGP, there was a judge test. This is good. We got some more judges, but the big problem at the moment is that there's still no official judges on the west coast of the US. Okay, I'm located in California. I am very interested in becoming a judge, but I cannot take a judge test. No matter how much I want to be a judge, it's just not an option. And if Force of Will does not appoint somebody who can administer judge tests on the West Coast and in more locations in the US, this is definitely going to be a problem. Okay, judges are going to be very useful for promoting the game and help organizing local events, making sure that people are really playing the game correctly, and it also allows those judges themselves become more invested in the game. So we need to have a more accessible judge program. And to me, honestly, it's kind of ridiculous that that's actually a problem right now. So, number 5, official tournament software and ranking system. Okay, now we have heard that the Force of Will company is coming out with an official tournament software, and this is a good thing, but they need to get it out as quickly as possible. Okay, and we need to have a ranking system. So not only do we need that tournament software to allow stores at the local event as well as larger events to use a real official tournament software with the correct tie rules and, or I should say, draw rules and buys and that type of thing that really are following all of the Force of Will rules. But we also need a ranking system, okay? Now, they do have a ranking system. They have these willpower points, but really this is just a player loyalty reward system. So if you buy a lot of their products, you get more points, and then they'll give you promo cards and that kind of thing. So if you want the promo cards, then you're encouraged to buy more. Now, this is a good marketing technique and something that I'm not opposed to. You know, it's just another bonus for buying things, but we need an actual tournament ranking system. So depending on how well you do at local events and AGPs, you can build up points, something similar to like Planeswalker points, although Planeswalker points in Magic honestly are kind of lame too, but they have pro points and you can actually see people ranked, and this will be good for a lot of reasons, okay? Number 1, it'll allow the players to actually see how well they're doing and will give them something to strive for. You can say, all right, well, I need to be at least top 2,000 or whatever it is, you know, whatever the cutoffs are, but it'll allow you to qualify for things in a much more visible and organized way. It'll also kind of let people see which players are really good and kind of get behind them and become fans, okay? So people can become more well-known and more established for being a professional player or a highly ranked player. People can kind of root for that, and it will create more of a sense of community. Another thing that's kind of related to this is just better event coverage, okay? Perhaps I should have split these up into multiple things, but going along with this official tournament software, they need to have better official event coverage. Okay, right now, there basically is no official coverage. Okay, if you want to watch an AGP, you better hope someone just uploaded a video. And they really need to make this a thing that is accessible, because along with that ranking system, it'll allow people to see, hey, these are what the pros are doing, or the really good players. And I want to kind of see what's happening in Pittsburgh, or I want to see what's happening in LA, etc. Or what's happening in Japan even. So they really need to get that out there. So, all that being said, the Force of Will company is doing a lot right. Okay, they're really a very small and very new company, and I won't get into everything they're doing right, but they're listening to players, and they're doing as much as they can, and the great game is growing really fast, even though it is so new, and so they have a lot on their plate, and they are driving things forward. So I do applaud them for that, and it is an excellent game. However, I see these 5 areas as things that they do need to do to make it even better. So with that, thank you again, fellow JRulers, and I will see you in the next video.